All right, guys, I've got a short little video here today, and it is on a, well, let's just call it, as the title says, steering wheel hack, trick, or shortcut. All right, I know you guys, if you guys have a 67, 72, this right here is a familiar sight, and it's, let me go get a light. I'm gonna get a light. All right, there we go. That's better. We can see. Hopefully the wind isn't being too annoying. I guess this is kind of a video here on the 71 Stehekin Burb. As for this is the truck that's gonna be receiving the steering wheel upgrade. And as I was just saying before, getting a little more illumination here, this is probably a very familiar sight if you guys are playing 67, 72 Chevy trucks. This is, well, oh boy. Yep, it only gets worse, right? Destroyed steering wheel by the sun UV. So they all seem to kind of, if it's a truck that sat for long periods of time outside, this is usually what they look like. Only trucks that were indoors seem to, well, have their wheels preserved as for they stay out of the sunlight. Some colors worse than others. They all kind of got it, but blue and saddle are typically almost always destroyed, and usually those trucks with those color interiors are never wearing the original wheel. As for it got this bad, and they changed it out, you know, back in the 80s. Yeah, here we have one that hasn't been changed, and it has done a number of falling apart since I started driving this thing. You know, it just gets worse and worse every time you drive it. They make repop wheels. We'll show you guys why those are no good, in a 17-inch fashion, as well as a 15-inch, same design fashion. They are a bit better, I must say, but those 17s are just absolutely no good. So they're just flimsy, is the biggest problem, especially on this upper hoop right here. It's really flimsy. It's terrible if it's a K truck, because you're usually using this to kind of pull yourself in, even though you're not supposed to. And when they got that flimsy hoop, there's no assurance there, and not a positive driving, you know, feel. But yeah, I mean, parts are plentiful, even, you know, kind of good use, but these go for good money. This is an expensive piece here if it's in good shape, as for this is typically the case. But there's a little trick that I'm going to show you guys, way to get yourself a wheel on, well, let's just call it a budget, or to sneak one out of somewhere you might not expect it, because not only these trucks came with this style of steering wheel. I think it's worth also kind of mentioning, as I just said, it really was the UV that killed these things. Here I'm sitting in the yellow Rusty Bird right across from the white Stehekin, and this truck here basically has under 50,000 original miles, noted by odometer and receipts, paperwork, everything, as for how it lived. This truck here has anywhere from 300 to 500,000 miles between receipt paperwork. It just depends on if he got with 100,000 miles on it when he bought it, or 200,000 miles already on it when he bought it in 1991. So anywhere from 300 to 500,000. So this thing has got, well, possibly up to 10 times the amount of use on it. But this thing was always indoors. As rusty as this truck is, as they're driving on the beach, look at the wheel. It's beautiful. It is starting to wear thin from usage up there. That is steel showing through, but it's not cracked up. There's one little crack right over there. But look at it. It's beautiful. So it wasn't so much high use or abuse that ruined these things. They were tough wheels. It was just the sun over all these. Well, now, as to some of them, over 55 years. The 69 is over 55 years old. So, yeah, the sun's what really hurt them. It wasn't so much use. That's a hint, I guess you could say it. How do we get one that hasn't been in the sun, that has been outside its whole life? Here's the wheel in the new GMC, of course, in saddle fashion. And this, I must say, is actually, gosh, it has to be above average for a saddle or sandalwood wheel. And it's not good. I'm not saying it looks good, but this is, usually you find it even worse than this, or long gone and not with the truck anymore. So yeah, this is kind of typical. It's had a big steering wheel wrap on it when I first bought it that I pulled off. And yeah, there was nothing really pretty behind that. It's no good. Still clinging on by a thread though. Not quite as bad as the one in the white Burb though, which is kind of surprising. As for this thing, has also lived its whole life out there in the Okanagan Valley sun. But yeah, this one just a little bit better. But typically a color that is worse. And I must also say, sadly, this trick will pretty much only work for black wheels, unless you want to get crafty and try and dye a black wheel. As for the vehicles that these wheels came on, I'm going to show you, I'd say are always black. There's no blue saddle or different colored wheels on these other vehicles. There's another little fault of these trucks that, well, just happened right now as I was trying to do this video. The classic button broken on the door handle. But here is one more to show you guys kind of a, well, average condition you find a black wheel in. That's about what they look like, or worse. You know, kind of some big cracks in the center, and yeah, that's, again, probably a sight you guys are quite familiar with. Okay, enough show and tell. Time to show you guys this trick. Chevy vans from 1971 to 1976 kept using the same style steering wheel, and it's a great place to source a nice one for your truck, especially that of a camper van. Camper van typically saw, well, of course, less use, less mileage, less wear and tear. But as you guys can see from the camper overhang over the cab, typically we're shaded more from the sun, which I just addressed as the main killer of these plastic, you know, original steering wheels. This one popped up locally on the good old Facebook Marketplace, and I messaged the guy. He was just trying to get rid of the thing. His transmission was missing, it didn't run, and I hit him up with an offer. I said, hey, I'll give you $50 for the steering wheel. I'll replace it with another one so it can still be moved around and sold, and, you know, he can still get it out of hhis hair eventually. Well, he had no reason to turn it down. Why not? He was just trying to get rid of the thing and was getting ready to scrap it if it wouldn't sell. So I took the bad one off the burb I was showing you guys the night before and swapped him out, grabbed the mint one. And so here it is. This is, well, it's a little dusty and dirty, but I knew it was mint. I could just tell by the picture he sent me. I knew the wheel had been, well, hidden from UV its whole life and was in really respectable condition. On a side note, something to check for as well too is vans typically will have tilt steering columns that are very similar to the ones that came factory in our trucks. With some slight modifications, a guy can make them work and you can use one in a pickup. This one didn't have a tilt column. I was okay just grabbing the mint wheel and I was happy with that. But still, always a good thing to check for too. Sometimes the vans even have some tilt columns. And there's our wheel. Check it out. It's pretty slick. No cracks. It does have some slight hairline ones barely trying to form over here. Well, this, of course, is the side that is exposed to the sun as it's against the window. Look at this side over here. Nothing. Definitely needs a deep clean, which I'll do right now. Get it all cleaned up and we'll get it put on the burb. All right, check that out. After a quick little clean, coming right back, looking pretty sweet. It's not perfect. It's, I'd say, 9 out of 10. It's got some little kind of like scratches down here. I'm gonna try to get those out. You can use some acetone on like a blue Scott shop towel and kind of wipe and sometimes get these to kind of dissipate and go away. You almost kind of buff them out. It smears and rubs the plastic around basically. And the other reason why it's not perfect is there's small differences in the van versus pickup. If you're really being a stickler, like the back side of the hub here, the pickups are drilled all the way through with like the removal bosses, I guess you'd call them. And sometimes the grain can be a little bit different. This one's got lots of grain on it still, which looks really good. Sometimes the grain, the texture isn't quite the same. And then, of course, the other one is the horn cap. Of course, if it was from 73 and up, it is a van. It is a yellow horn cap, while back in these trucks, of course, it's a blue one. So this is the original horn cap off of the blue, or the broken up wheels off the burb. So I'll be putting that back on there. I've got to clean up some horn pieces, whatnot, kind of select the best of the stuff there and get that on with it. I'm gonna kind of, I don't know, wire wheel or something here. This is kind of crusty, and so is that. And I'll pick the best ones here and get the horn working right. Yeah, way better than what it had. And I picked this up for $50, like I said earlier. So this is, well, a great way to do it. I'll show you guys, I was talking about earlier in the video, one of the common issues with, your options you just normally buy off the shelf, the aftermarket ones, and it's just how flimsy they are. So check this out in my dad's truck. So these are the aftermarket offerings. This is what you get. They are quite pretty, I gotta admit that. They do look nice, but they do not feel nice. They are cheap junk. Look at how much that top hoop is flexing back and forth. And, I kind of know this isn't such a big deal when it's a two-wheel drive, but when you're in a four-wheel drive jacked up truck, you're using the thing to get in, get out. Either you're not supposed to, but it's kind of unavoidable. And this thing, there's no positive driving experience with one of these. It just feels like cheap crap, because it is. But they're not cheap to buy. They're over $300. They do make a 15-inch offering, like I mentioned earlier, that is the same style, a little bit tighter, that diameter, that does not flex as much, doesn't feel quite so cheap, but they're not perfect either. And again, not cheap. Look at this thing. Already got cracks in it. One in the center and off to the side. This thing's only a couple years old. So what's going to look like in another 15, 20 years? Not good. A good used wheel can easily bring anywhere from, well, gosh, $200 to $500, even up to $1,000 for a perfect one. I've seen the old stock ones sell for that and even more money. So these are not a cheap piece. They're not easy to find unless you're going to cheat it and find one off a van like I just did. So a little trick, a little hack. But yeah, no, it makes for a good way to get one. Kind of a shortcut. And again, camper van is usually always better as for lower miles and typically more shaded by the sun. So as I kind of said there earlier in the video, I mentioned it kind of quickly. I said I'd talk about it more. A lot of times the vans are equipped with tilt steering columns as well too. And if that camper might have had one, I might have actually bought that as well. But it didn't have one in it. And so I was just happy to get this wheel and put another wheel on it so it could still steer and you can get rid of the rest of it. But a lot of times they've got tilt columns in them, and they, with some modifications, they can bolt right in and work in our trucks. So there's a few different versions and whatnot, but they are basically the same style of steering column. I had a blue one on site. Check out this. This is in the C20 I just brought home the other day. I don't know why I was spacing it. I was trying to look for one last night. Yeah, the blue, get it the worst. For some reason, that blue color was the most vulnerable or susceptible, I guess you'd say, to the UV light over the years. And they're almost always never still there. A lot of times you see, a blue interior truck with a square body, or later OBS, steering wheel put on it because somebody got tired of dealing with this. But this one's still wearing it. Yeah, no good. That's why in the most recent video I just posted this week of Bryce Marcel, his truck at the truck party, that's why we were kind of crapping our pants over that blue wheel he has in his truck, because you just do not find blue wheels, original ones in that kind of shape. Let alone a black one like I'm excited about today, this one I just got. But blue is just like, that's unobtainium. And, I'd say sandalwood and saddle are after that, but yeah, blue wheel, they seem to get the sun the worst. You think it'd be black, which black didn't do fare well either, but blue just really got it. I mean, this one is crumbling apart. This, I guess, the part of this hack that I'm showing you guys here of going stealing wheels off vans, can't really apply to blue trucks because I've only ever seen van wheels in black. Doesn't mean there isn't a blue one. Doesn't mean you can't dye that wheel blue. You can kind of crafty with it, and make something happen. But yeah, blue wheel guys, I'm sorry. This is you guys are the worst off, but there's still hope. You guys can do something here. And yeah, they fared the worst. All right, got installed, and it looks, well, heck of a lot better. Check that out. Looks mint. Absolutely mint. A lot better than what was in here. It almost has enough wear. It is nicer than the rest of the truck, but it almost has just enough wear and character that it appears it's always been here, which I always like because it just looks fitting and not out of place. That's the bad part, is you go buy a brand new one of those flimsy wheels I was just showing. They're so shiny in their appearance. They sound like a sore thumb almost to the fact that they don't look right, especially if they're a colored wheel. A brand new blue wheel always looks goofy, on a older, faded blue, the rest of the truck interior. So this one here, as it being as good a shape as it is still a little bit faded and has still seen a life the last 50 years. It didn't just get made in Taiwan a couple years ago. So it fits. It looks great in the white burb. No more holes you can stick your fingers through and whatnot. But yeah, this is a little trick. A lot of guys already know it, but if you didn't, yeah, scope out those junkyards or people's side yards, whatever it be, for an old van, and better yet, a camper van. They typically have, well, pretty nice steering wheels on them that go even better on our trucks. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as, oh, hang on. Just thinking about it. I can cross it out. My paint pen is no good. But being this was a video on the white burb, I guess there's some progress on this list. I haven't made much progress on it this summer, but that could be crossed off. And little progress is better than none. Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as always, more 67 to 72 content soon.